Welcome to our webinar. So my name is Leo. I'll be with you today with Rigas and Jason. I'm a sales director for AGT Soileos, and I'm delighted to be your host for today's session. We are happy and thrilled that you've taken the time to join us to explore crucial aspects of soil nutrients, soil health, and effective crop nutrition strategies. So before we move forward, I just want to make sure that you guys can hear and see me clearly. So if you can say hi in the webinar chat or send me emoji, maybe smiley face or high five or something. So then I'll be comfortable to proceed and make sure that everyone can see as well and hear as well. So if you guys can do that, I appreciate. I still don't have anything here, but if you guys can, okay. So I can see some people telling me that it's okay. So let's proceed. So at AGT Soileos, we are committed to providing valuable insights and support to the agriculture industry. Helping you achieving healthy and productive crops for many seasons to come. So today we are incredibly fortunate to have with us a leading expert in the field of fertilizer and soil health on the prairies, Mr. Rigas Karamanos. So Dr. Karamanos is a soil fertility expert. He's held academic and industry roles with Esso Chemical, Westico, Viterra, and Koch Fertilizer. So now retired. He is a fellow of the Canadian Society of Agronomy, distinguished agronomist and the Saskatchewan Agriculture Hall of Fame inductee. So his insights into the role of micronutrients like zinc and balanced fertility program will be invaluable as we plan for a successful spring this year and beyond. So during this his presentation, Rigas will be guiding us through fertility planning on the prairies and the crucial role of micronutrients with a specific focus on zinc and achieving a balanced fertility program. So he will also touch upon how solutions like Soileos work with the soil microbiome to provide essential crop nutrition and support overall soil health, ultimately contributing to higher yields, which is the goal of everyone in this room today. So before I proceed, it is important to share that following Jason's presentation, we have two sessions today, Rigas and Jason. We will have a dedicated Q&A session where both Rigas and Jason will be available to answer your questions. So please feel free to submit your questions in the chat box at any point during the presentations, okay? So Mr. Rigas, one more time. So we thank you for your time. We appreciate you being here with us, and I'll let you proceed with your presentation. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the invite to speak. I will cover a little bit about, I was asked to cover balanced crop nutrition, and I will cover a few things about balanced crop nutrition, as well as a little bit about micronutrients in relation to that. All right, so what are the benefits of a balanced fertility? First of all, balanced nutrition improves the use of available water, and also balanced nutrition with macronutrients such as phosphorus will stimulate plant root growth. Potassium is involved in water regulation. And as I will show you in a moment, micronutrients are involved in a number of plant functions. So it is important that we have all the nutrients in balance for the plants to take them. Now, when it comes to balanced nutrition for maximum yield. Going back into the literature, the nutrient balance in crop nutrition is of paramount importance for both crop growth and environmental sustainability. And that goes back into the International Plant Nutrient Institute in 2002. However, sometimes there is a confusion between balanced nutrition and balanced fertilization. The terms can be considered synonymous when balanced fertilization refers to fertilization programs that balance the total nutrition of the plant, supplementing with fertilizer whatever the soil cannot supply. In some instances, however, it is taken to mean that fertilizers are applied in certain ratios independently of the soil nutrient status. And then when it comes to balanced nutrition, you all are very much aware of the 4R nutrient stewardship principle. And you can see that when it comes to the right rate and the right source, the balanced fertility appears as a key component. Of course, the place and the time are two different things, but the rate and the source, among other things, include the balanced fertility. So when we are talking about the source, which is quite important, you got to ensure a balanced supply of essential nutrients in plant available form. So if the prices become high, don't favor one nutrient over another, since that could result in yield reduction. Some people say, oh, the price is going too high for, a micronutrient, I'm going to drop it out. Oh, no, well, wait a minute. If you do that, that can lead to imbalance in the soil and reduced yields. So when it comes to the right time, assessing the time of crop uptake, it's really important to take the science of plant nutrition. The science of plant nutrition has identified nutrient uptake patterns and period of sensitivity to deficiencies for specific crops. So it is, you have to assess the timing of crop uptake, the soil nutrient supply, and whether and the logistics of course of fertilizer application. So fertilizer nutrients should be applied to match these seasonal patterns, which depend, of course, on site-specific factors, including planting date, crop species, and so on and so forth. So keep that in mind, and this is some of the work that I carried out in the past with all the nutrients, and you can see that the majority of the nutrients are taken up in the first quarter of the plant growth. So now when it comes to micronutrients, which is the topic of the central topic of our presentation, what are micronutrients? Well, are essential elements that are required in small amounts. Micro in Greek or mikro means small. So that's the essence, where the origin of the word micronutrients. And how essential are they? Well, look at here. I mentioned to you before that the micronutrients are performing a number of functions in the plant. And here's a summary of the micronutrient role in plants. So you can see, that, for example, iron contributes to everything pretty much. When it comes to zinc, the protein photosynthesis and respiration, you have a zinc deficiency. You can see why you have reduced yield, because both respiration and cell growth and protein synthesis are reduced. So you can see how different micronutrients perform different functions in the plant and why they are essential. Now, when we're talking about small, how small is, well, this is just an example of a slide from my past life, if you wish, where I was comparing the uptake of nutrients for a 45 bushel spring wheat crop. And you can see, take, for example, nitrogen. There'll be a total of 81 pounds of nitrogen taken up by the crop go to zinc, and it'll be 0.16 pounds. That's why it's small. That's why it's called micro, because they are taken up in small amounts. You can see copper is the one that it's taken in very small amounts. So that gives you an idea. Now, these days, we are encountering greater incidence of micronutrient deficiencies. And I've been invited the last month or so to a number of places, including going down to Ontario to speak about micronutrients. And I explain to people why we have greater incidences of micronutrient deficiencies. First of all, we have better understanding of microbes, both in terms of plant diagnosis and soil testing. Also, we have higher yields, improved crop varieties, moisture conservation, better management. Sadly enough, I may add that we haven't seen any calibration of, lately, but when the plant crops have been, their yields have been doubled in the last 20, 25 years, you would expect that the uptake will be much higher. And also, there are purer micronutrient fertilizers. I remember back in my Viterra days, Leo, you mentioned that I worked for them. We got a letter from the federal government saying that's it, you can no longer sell any nitrogen because you have reached the pollution level of zinc in Western Canada. What they had done, they took all the nitrogen application in Western Canada and attributed it to ammonium sulfate. And at that time, ammonium sulfate contained 1% of zinc. So they said, you reached the limit of heavy metal. Anyway, and then, of course, now ammonium sulfate is, it became clear without zinc. And now we're start adding zinc again because we are having zinc deficiency. So, so that's part of the reasons why we have more micronutrient deficiency. So when should we use them? And I've given a lot of presentations on micronutrients, and I always say when their application results in an economic benefit for the farmer. And sometimes, you have to define what works mean to you. Greener the next day, higher nutrient concentration in the leaves. I've seen, companies that go and spray with a nutrient and then they go back, see, it's more. That doesn't mean anything. Better than the neighbors, better than last year, sometimes logical agronomy. You have to make sure that you get an economic benefit, which is increased yield, and in some specific cases, also it can lead to better quality. So the micronutrient deficient environments, the best way to define is by yield responses. And yield responses can be obtained by soil deficiencies and plant physiological effects. And I did have I was at the University of Saskatchewan for 10, 11 years and teaching there. And I had a graduate student that looked at the interaction between zinc and phosphorus, for example, really serious interaction. So those are the physiological effects. You add too much phosphorus, you can lead to a zinc deficiency. So that is quite important. There is also an interaction between manganese and zinc, also manganese and copper, but we also had a grad student that looked at the manganese-zinc interaction. So there are physiological effects. So how do you identify a micronutrient deficiency? Soil testing is the best way to do it. The preferred soil sample is 0 to 6 inches. And sampling time, what we found out, unlike macronutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, that you got to sample at specific times, we found that with micronutrient sampling throughout the year actually gave us a very good idea anytime. And of course, the interpretation of soil test values. Finally, plant analysis can help as well. So when it comes to the correction of micronutrients deficiencies, consider the difference in responses of micronutrients compared to macronutrients. The application rates of micronutrients, and actually this morning I had a discussion with a gentleman about this, they do not, they reflect the need for us to supply enough in order to get, the physical distribution of the product. Like if you remember back in that, take for example copper. Remember, it was 0.016 pounds of copper in the 45 bushels of wheat. That's 8 grams. When we apply copper, 2-3 pounds, 5, whatever the case may be per acre, when you broadcast and incorporate, or zinc, when we're 80 grams, we're applying way more than what the plant takes. But the reason why we do that is because we want to have, good distribution. And that's where products like the one that Soileos is bringing can help tremendously in achieving that distribution. So when it comes to zinc in Western Canada, there is extensive database. There is research. You can see going back to the 60s, believe it or not, with corn, that was primarily in primarily in Manitoba. Then with beans, you can see that was primarily in Alberta and even and in Manitoba. Dr. Go, who was a professor now retired at the University of Manitoba, and now we did some work and we developed actually soil testing criteria and everything for beans and zinc. With flax, Dr. Cindy Grand, who's with Agriculture Canada, now retired. And you can see with wheat. So there is enough research in Western Canada to help us with identifying zinc deficiency. And this, I asked Agvice Laboratories out of Northwood, North Dakota, if I could use their data from their website. And they have this, actually, I just took the zinc soil samples, and this is showing soil samples with zinc soil test below 1 part per million, which is considered the critical level for zinc deficiency. You can see they're all over Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and recently, the last 2-3 years, they have also started doing some work, some soil testing in Alberta. But look, I mean, it's just amazing when you look at the percentage of soils that are below the critical level. It's just incredible. So this is, I haven't done any research myself recently, but he's a professor at the University of Saskatchewan, Dr. Jeff Shano, who is doing a lot of work, and he has identified a lot of zinc deficiencies, and he has done a lot of research, so that is quite important. And down here is the website, that you can go on and see where this data is coming from. So with that, what I would like to do, I would like to conclude. And Jason, yeah, I'm going to stay at 25 minutes. This is I went and I was very, very pleased with the fact that Soileos, they do research and they report everything, whether it's good or not, whether you get significant response or not, is right there. And they've done 50 trials in Western Canada. I know they've done piles of trials all over the world, but as far as Western Canada is concerned, I identified 50 trials, and that describes the responses of different crops, the average yield difference in bushels per acre of different crops from the 50 trials that have been carried out in Western Canada. So with that, I would like, to thank you for the opportunity to speak on zinc, on balanced nutrition and zinc. Keep in mind that, uh, a lot of people say, "Oh, the price is too high. I'm going to throw out. Just going to keep nitrogen." Well, the problem is that when you do that, sometimes you can lead to imbalances, or phosphorus. You can lead to imbalances and have a reduced economic return, although you think that the prices are high. So with that, here is my email in case that you have any questions, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to the group.
Thank you, Rigas. Yes, I mentioned we would have Q&A for Rigas end of Jason's session, but since we have one questions here only in our Q&A, I thought we could maybe answer this question right now, Rigas, if you don't mind. So the question is, what are the locations of the flax studies?
Flax?
Yes.
Oh, we had flax in, we had flax, if you remember, in Saskatchewan. And at that time, actually, I had a graduate student and we did, believe it or not, 53 trials all over the province where we got responses with, you're talking Soileos, but where we got with flaxes in Saskatchewan, and I'm not sure where Soileos, maybe Jason can answer that. We had responses on the highway from Saskatoon to North Battleford, and also south of Highway 1 between Regina and Moose Jaw. So that's, in general. But as far as I'm sorry, I didn't get the locations from the Solio zinc. Jason, can you help out with that?
Yeah, I can. Thanks, Rigas. That question was by Jeanette Jackson, I believe, and the answer is that our flax trials were in the Saskatoon area. So that's where those results came from.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have an attendee that put hands up in our chat group. So I don't know, Mr. Scott, if you want to send us a question so we can bring this to Jason or Rigas. But thank you, Rigas, for sharing all those very valuable insights
Thank you.
into fertility planning and the importance of balanced nutrient approach. So building on this foundation, we are now pleased to introduce our next speaker. Most of you know this very special person, so Mr. Jason McNamee. So Jason is a biogeologist and ecology expert with 20 years of experience in biotech research and development. So Jason is also a founder of Lucent Biosciences and general manager of AGT Soileos. In his segment, Jason will be focusing on the solution Soileos can bring to your operation, showcasing real-world examples with trial results and explaining the performance of Soileos across various soil types and crops in Western Canada. He will also likely discuss practical ways to incorporate Soileos into your operations and what you can expect when using Soileos in your crop plans. So, Jason, thank you so much for your time. So, I'll let you do your presentation, please. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Leo. And Rigas, thank you so much. And I can't believe it. The timing was perfect. That was great. We're doing something a little different here I'm in Shellbrook, Saskatchewan, where we're doing a grower meeting, and we have about 10 growers here or so, and we've got what do we got here? 6 agronomists, and thanks to the good people at Lake Country Co-op for hosting us here today. Unfortunately, I kind of didn't do a great job on the audio section of Rigas's presentation, but I'll remember it for next time. So I'll just share my screen here. Welcome to this bit of the webinar. My name is Jason McNamee. As Leo said, I'm one of the founders of Lucent Biosciences, where we developed this technology, and I'm also proud to serve as the general manager at AGT Soileos. We are a joint venture with AGT Foods and Ingredients. They're out of Regina, Saskatchewan. They're one of the world's largest pulse processors. We work together with them to use one of their old facilities where we built in Rosetown over the last couple of years. So this is who I am. So those of you know, I'm a small town kid from the Wilcox-Balgonie area of Saskatchewan. I'm also the Chief Operations Officer at Lucent Biosciences, and I'm proud to serve as the General Manager at AGT Soileos in beautiful Rosetown, Saskatchewan. I'm also a father of two young men who are 19 and 21 now, both going to university in British Columbia. And this is the reason that I really got into this. I don't know if you guys here can see that, but when I was going to university in Regina, I recognized early on that there was some real problems that we had. And I always like to use these two slides here, which show that over the last 10,000 years, we have gone as a human population from approximately, a very small population. 10,000 years ago, when we started agriculture, started becoming civilized. And so what we see is that over time, human population hasn't changed very much until 150 years ago, when we experienced exponential growth. 150 years ago, there were less than 1 billion humans on the planet. There are 8 billion humans today. There will be 10 billion humans here by 2050. And we have to feed them all. We need better technology. This is a real problem that we have. At the same time, we also have, oh, you guys are gonna put it on here? We got it figured out. Okay, about that. And at the same time, we can see that carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has been basically steady for the last 10,000 years, until the same time 150 years ago, it experienced exponential growth. And you can see that over on the far right. They're almost the exact same curve, and there's a lot of other curves like that. You just have to turn the sound off. Sorry, there we go. Sorry about the technical difficulties, folks. But there's other problems. There's other problems that we have to solve here. You guys know about the prices of fertilizer. You guys know the problems of the prices with your commodities. I think you got it. And so we need real solutions for these problems. Like, how are we going to feed, 10 billion humans? How are we going to deal with, 1,000 parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere, and how that's going to change the environmental outcomes that you're going to be facing? And so that's what our solution really is to come up with a product that actually works better than conventional products, improves ROI on a regular basis, but also improves environmental outcomes and improves soil health, and our products also sequester carbon. What we do, actually, you know what? I'm just going to talk quickly. We have a zinc product that we have, which is also 10% potassium and about 5% sulfur. We have an iron product that is about 9% potassium, 3% sulfur, and 5% iron. Where I am today Shellbrook, Saskatchewan, there's not a lot of need for an iron product. Most of our iron products are sold in the Manitoba and North Dakota, Minnesota soybean industries, where they have problems with iron deficiency chlorosis. So the real key here, the real reason that we're sitting here today is that our products are a food source for your soil microbiome. What we have found is we have found a way to attach nutrients to cellulose in such a way that we don't get tie-up, we don't get leaching, we don't get runoff. In fact, our products are water insoluble. And so traditional fertilizers you know of as all being soluble, and that is being the way that it's transported. However, our products are a food source for your soil microbiome. So when the soil's warm in the spring and your soil microbes start moving around, they need a food source. Our products provide that food source. We actually use oat hulls that we get from Aberdeen, where there is a oat processing plant. We mill those into a very fine powder. We put this through our reaction technique, and that's what causes the very strong bond to the fiber. And of course, it's this fiber in the soil which all microbes have evolved to eat. And so what we are doing is we are feeding your soil microbiome, and the soil microbiome is then feeding your crop. The cool thing about that is you're only getting nutrients released when your crop requires them, because your crop doesn't require nutrients when your soil is or when the soil is really cold or really wet or really dry or really hot, right? So it's only released when your crop is growing at its optimal. I say it's the first real innovation in the micronutrient fertilizer space in over a century. We know that because the products that you're used to seeing in the industry are things like chelates or sulfates or oxides. Those are your choices. And those were all invented before World War II. The technologies may have changed, maybe repackaged or something like that, but it's essentially the same technology. So what did we do? We were not agronomists when we first figured this product out. So what we've done over the past 4 years is we have done a tremendous amount of trial work so that we know where, when, why, and how the product should be used. Like a lot of these products, it's not something that you just use everywhere. If we put it in the right location, like to the 4 Rs discussion, the right location and the right time, we will see a response, and we will improve your ROI at the end of the day. And that's the conversation that I think is important in the industry, is improving ROI. So where have we done trials? Well, over the last 4 years, as I said, all over North America. This is 2021, 2022, 2023. What's that? Oh, it's just slow lag. 2024. So this trial program, it was very, very expensive, but it really did allow us to get a deeper understanding of where, when, and why the product was working. So these are some results from Western Canada that actually Rigas took them right off of our website and averaged them. And so you can see that on average, we're having a good response, but we know where to have a great response. And that is if you have soil tests that show that you're low in zinc, we have a wonderful option for you. But not everybody has soil tests. And that's okay, because there's a lot of really great tools that we can use to figure out where this product would be most advantageous. So this is just a screenshot of the Saskatchewan Agriculture website, which basically tells you that you have typically where we have micronutrient problems is when we have very low or very high organic matter. Coarse grain soils show micronutrient deficiencies more often than clay soils. And pH, as pH increases, micronutrient bioavailability decreases. I think we saw that in a presentation just a little bit earlier. So where will we provide maximum ROI for people in this area? So if you're, again, I'll remind the people in the webinar that I'm in Shellbrook, Saskatchewan. I'm talking to farmers right now. So we want to talk about where we could improve the outcomes in their operations. Again, if we have soil tests, that's where we want to concentrate. But from a soil texture perspective, there are a lot of coarse grained soils in your area. This is the yellow and brown colors here. And if you're on these areas, you know that. Like you have lighter colored soils with lower organic matter, and that's where this product will provide a good return for you. The other thing that we discussed on the Saskatchewan Agriculture website was that when your pH goes up, your micronutrient bioavailability goes down. So you may in fact have micronutrients in your soil, but it may not be bioavailability. Once your pH starts creeping up past 7.1, 7.2, bioavailability starts taking a sharp nosedive. But we can see here that in the Shellbrook area, you guys have a real wide variety of pHs. Like, it is not consistent at all. A lot of different places in Saskatchewan, it's very consistent. But here in this area, we have the dark brown to brown. This is where you're going to see high pH. And then down here on the other side of the river, you have the green areas, which are just creeping up to that 7. And that's where, again, we can probably provide a solution for you. So this is sort of going along with what Rigas was talking about. It's funny, we didn't share presentations beforehand, but we do feel the same way. The main reason you would want to use a product like ours is, but if you want to improve your return on your investment, dollars in versus dollars out. We know that your crop removal rates are pretty low for these nutrients. It's 0.1 to 0.2 pounds per acre. Well, we know that our product, we're typically going to put on somewhere around a little bit more, as Rigas said. We're going to put on about 10 pounds of our product per acre, which is going to give you about 1 pound of actual zinc. And in that case, if we're only going to remove 0.1 or 0.2 pounds, that means there's going to be residual, because we know there's no release if there's no biological demand. And if your biology only demands 0.1 to 0.2 pounds of zinc, that means you have residual. So if you're going to come back next year in soil test, you will see the residual zinc in your soil. And so another part of the product that I think is super important, and this is where, we always hear about, not always, we often hear about soil health and regenerative ag and that sort of thing. But how do we know that a product is actually improving soil health? This particular graph here is a study that we had completed at Agriculture and Agri-Foods Canada. It's a replicated trial that shows that our product, compared to a control, which was a zinc sulfate in this case, grows a lot more microbial biomass carbon. And to answer that question about soil health, if we're improving microbial biomass carbon, that means we're improving the opportunity for you to get nutrients to your crops. And it may be other nutrients that might be tied up, where you might get an opportunity if you have more soil biology. It's another function of our product that I think is very important. Because our product is carbon-based, the product actually does not clump. I had this particular trial conducted at the Prairie Agricultural Machinery Institute in Humboldt, Saskatchewan, where there were 5 different treatments. The first was Soileos on its own, a pulse blend on its own, a wheat blend on its own, and then a wheat and pulse blend blended with Soileos at 10 pounds an acre. And what you see here is that the Soileos blends flow just fine and don't clump, whereas the salt-based fertilizers, which would be a phosphorus and urea, maybe something else, they do clump. So what we believe is that this will become a very important selling feature for the product as we go forward, so that when you get to your bin in the spring, that your fertilizer is going to flow out of it. We've been really, like I say, we've done a lot of trials with growers, and we've never had a problem with flowability. It's not dusty, and we don't have a problem with the product breaking apart or anything like that. So it really handles well. As I said, it's also made in Saskatchewan using locally sourced oats from Manitoba and Saskatchewan, although mostly we get ours from Aberdeen, Saskatchewan. Supporting Western Canada is our top priority. We create Western Canadian jobs, and of course, no tariffs ever. And as I was talking earlier about the other problems that we have, that is the carbon in the atmosphere and other problems. Our product also sequesters carbon. And in fact, in 2023, we won the Shell Climate Smart Agriculture Award out of 400 companies around the world. And over the last 2 years, we've worked with Shell to prove those numbers. And the numbers we got from our trials were this particular slide, whereby we thought we would be sequestering somewhere between 3 to 6 tons of carbon per ton of product used. And we'll have a report coming out shortly, but it's actually a little bit more than that. And of course, it depends on your location and that sort of thing. But our product truly does do those things that I mentioned right off the top, that it improves your ROI and environmental outcomes at the same time. And it's pretty confidently supported here in Saskatchewan. I am your sales rep. If you want me to come out to your farm, I'll come out to your farm. If you want to know anything, you can email me directly or you can phone me. I'm the guy that's here for you. And I really want to help growers achieve success. And with that, we'll open up the floor to questions.
Thank you, Jason. I just want to add to our audience that we also have Eduardo Costa covering Alberta territory. If somebody here is from Alberta, we will be able to connect with you, and Eduardo will be your contact. We also have the great Devin Bailey in Manitoba. If you hear from Manitoba, Devin will be able to connect with you and support you in case Soileos can be a great addition based on insights from Jason. If you understand Soileos can be a great addition to your operation in Manitoba, Devin will be able to support. And myself in Ontario and United States. If you hear from United States, we appreciate and we want to work with you as well. So, Jason, I have a few questions where we can also, I would like to bring to your attention. With variable crop price and tariff risks, is 10 pounds per acre the right rate?
That is a good question. So, we want to maximize your ROI, and we want to make sure that you get enough distribution in your system. So, as we know, you're only going to remove 0.1 to 0.2 pounds of zinc per acre. But if we only put on, 2 or 3 pounds, you're going to get, you're going to get a prill here. You're going to get another prill, another 10 feet away or something. So somewhere around 10 pounds an acre is good, because then you end up if you're using an air seeder like most folks are here, you'll get a prill every 12 inches or so at 10 pounds an acre. If we dial it back to maybe 8 pounds, that's probably okay too. Or 7 pounds, that's probably okay too. But we see our best results somewhere around that 10 pounds of product per acre to give you the right amount of zinc in your field, but also the right distribution.
Okay, Cody Jensen, he's from US. What is the main contributing factor that leads to minimal clumping and improved flow?
Well, the answer to that is I don't have the scientific knowledge exactly. What we do know is running the freeze thaw trials, that the product is able to take on more moisture, yet still stay hard and still flow. And so the reason I believe that is, and I don't again have the data to back it up, is that the prill is a lot of small carbon-based particles with space inside of those particles that can hold on to moisture. And the product is held together by the protein, the residual proteins and starches from the fiber, as well as a little bit of a binder. So even though the product gets wet, it still manages to flow.
Thank you. Another one I have here, please. With input costs already high, how much will Soileos add to my expenses, and what is the expected return on investment?
That is the question everybody wants to know, and that is probably the best question to be asking. And the answer to that is that we have tried diligently and continue to work on, but making sure that we're getting an ROI of at least 3 to 1. So if you're spending $10 an acre with us, we better be seeing a 2 or 3 or 4 bushel improvement in yield. And that is where we're really driving. Now, all those trials that we've done over the past 4 years tell us that if we're using the product in the right place, like your soil test says, we have low zinc, or we're in a sandy soil with low organic matter or high pH, that we will in fact achieve that return on investment. And that is what we believe is super important in this discussion.
I'm sorry, but I cannot see your name as it is anonymous to me. But we have a question. Have you compared Soileos to other zinc products such as mass, especially when the soil is also low in phos?
Yeah, we absolutely have. That's a great question. So most of our customers, I would say over 90% of our sales, are getting bulk blended with monoammonium phosphate and a sulfur product of some sort. And then that's going in the seed row with the drill. And so we have lots of trials where we're doing replicated strip plots with our product versus a MESZ or a 40 Rock or something like that. And we see that our product generally outcompetes those other products and provides those environmental benefits, and still there is the residual zinc for the next year.
Thank you. I have 2 more questions for you, Jason and Rigas. We have one question for you as well that came up just right now. So I'll proceed with the 2 for Jason. How can Soileos provide season-long support to the crop?
Well, that's as discussed, is in that mode of action, right? Where the product is a food source for the soil microbiome. And so again, we know that we're only going to use 0.1 to 0.2 pounds of zinc per acre. And we know that you're only going to get that pull during those times of year that the microbiome and your crop are really growing quickly. And so because our product delivers at that time, we see product delivery throughout the season.
Thank you. And the last one for you, Jason, please. What kind of support do you guys offer? And if I have questions, problems, or during the season, will someone be available to help me?
Yeah, I think, and thanks for that earlier, Leo. I although I am one of the founders and the general manager, and I do rep all of Saskatchewan, we have some fantastic salespeople in Alberta, Eduardo Costa, in Manitoba. We have Devin Bailey, and in Ontario, we have the magnificent Leo Lopez, who is our support there. And like I say, I heard someone talking here earlier, like I work days, evenings, weekends. I'll answer my phone anytime, and so will all of our staff.
Thank you, Jason. I guess that's it for you. Rigas, we have a question for you. Lisa Britt, what is the critical stage that cereals uptake zinc? Is it as early as the 3-4 leaf stage?
Well, what we found out in our research that pardon me, the most critical stage is where the first node is visible. That's where we saw the best responses, when the first node is visible with cereals and 6-leaf stage with canola. So that's hopefully answers the question.
Thank you. So since we don't have any more questions, did somebody say something? Jason, yes, please.
One more question's coming. It's getting typed in right now. So hold on. It's for Rigas.
Oh, sorry, I'm just seeing here right now. I apologize.
Oh, I can see that too. Yes. Actually, the question is whether higher rates of phosphorus applied affect the availability of zinc in plants. Oh, absolutely yes. And I've had a grad student working on that, and I've had publication because there was a project at the University of Saskatchewan where they were applying 80 pounds of phosphorus and 160, hoping to have the residual effects. That's broadcast and incorporation. And all of a sudden, the yield got to the maximum, and they were getting higher yields with 15 and 20 pounds of phosphorus than with those. Why? Because there was phosphorus was killing the mycorrhiza. My grad student found out that the mycorrhiza in the roots from 40% went down to 10%. And as a result, the uptake of zinc, if you go into the literature, you will find out that the mycorrhiza drive zinc into the roots 4 times more efficiently than the roots themselves. So, what he did is he applied zinc at that time, and actually he even either in the soil or 1/3 of a pound foliar, and you got 7, 8, 10 bushels, 8 bushels, 10 bushels more yield at that time. So the answer, sorry, it's a long answer, but the answer is yes, it does. So
thank you.
Also, if you're a seed placing, 20, 30 pounds of phosphorus with zinc, in case, you will have that interaction as well. So keep that in mind.
Thank you for the answer, Rigas. Very good one. So thank you all for all your insightful questions. And thank you, Rigas and Jason, for your responses and sharing your expertise with us today. So thank you, everyone, for your active participation and the many thoughtful questions again. So we hope this webinar today has provided you with valuable insights regarding optimizing your fertility plans and understanding the role of innovative solutions like Soileos. Three important topics before I go. We will be sharing a recording of this webinar and additional resource via email in the coming days, so stay tuned. We encourage you to reach out to our team or your local ag retailer to discuss how Soileos can be a valuable addition to your fertility program. And don't forget to follow us on social media channels. So at Soileos, you can go LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, whichever channel you prefer, for more agronomic content and updates. So thank you for joining us today, and we wish you a great and successful growing season ahead. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.